the Twitter on the go.
Yeah.
Preparing to live stream the meeting. Why is
I hear
this not?
some South American music in the background. It's nice.
Yeah, of course. The music here, I like it. It's less charts and like more fun. Okay, we're live.
It's much
Welcome.
louder.
I think, oh, it's loading maybe. I don't know. It's hard to tell when it's really live.
I see this live logo. I don't know.
Yeah, we're live. Welcome, beautiful people, on the blockchain island Malta, the Bitcoin island, the BTC island. Here, I'm here with Victor.
What's up? I miss Malta,
Yeah.
man. When we say Malta, I wish I was there now, man. Shit.
Yeah, we're both not there.
Yeah,
but we may come back.
We should go.
Maybe because I mean nobody knows me either, but you have not been showing your face yet on the Bitcoin Club.
No, that's true.
Social media. So Victor, can you say what you work in and maybe like your way into Bitcoin quick?
How I started with the you mean how I got in touch with Bitcoin, or what I do right now? What did you say?
Yeah, what was your way to learn about? I mean, you're in the financial
okay,
field.
Yeah. I mean, the first time I actually touched like a Satoshi was with my friend who was he was very early with Bitcoin, with the let's say illegal business with the Satoshis, and I actually didn't know what Bitcoin was at the time, but it was the only way to actually get things normal shops don't sell. And I don't only mean drugs now. I actually mean things like, methods online for affiliates and methods for, like PDFs and a lot of viruses and Trojans and, all this kind of crap. But that was actually the first time I touched it. And then I was curious like everyone else, started to read about it. And I think my first transaction was actually because I had a debt or something. I bought Bitcoin and paid a debt for like 20 euros or something, but he needed Bitcoin, so I bought it. It was that kind of first transaction. It wasn't a pizza, it was a debt, But that's the reality.
So he paid, no, wait, you had the debt and you paid the debt with Bitcoin?
Yeah, I could have made a bank transfer, but he wanted Bitcoin. So he said, can you please go there and buy this and that? And I did it, and I didn't know what it was. But, well, I did know what it was, but I wasn't familiar with transactions of Bitcoin. I never bought Satoshi. I never, used it. So that was my first, let's say, pre-love with the Bitcoin.
Yeah, great. And you work in the financial markets also, right? So you have background in trading and stuff.
Yeah, I did for a few years actually. In Malta, I started. I went into CFD business with not one of the biggest, but there's like difference between trading with stocks and trading with CFDs. But I went to the CFD business anyways in Malta with a company that promotes for Europe and promotes for Sweden, etc. And so I've been in the trading here for sure.
Yeah. What do you so the reason why we basically came together tonight in Europe here, it's just early evening basically in Colombia.
Yeah.
The reason is that Bitcoin is pumping. Yeah, Bitcoin is pumping since a couple of weeks or days. I think we were like going down so long, and now since a few days we're up again, and that's really interesting actually. I think because then also the people are back. People's interest is back. I wonder how I can actually. What have you noticed online? Are people really like? Is the interest back on Bitcoin?
No, well, I guess people are interested now since they see the graphs and they say Bitcoin price going up. But to be honest, I've been I've been quite. I mean, I wrote to you this evening because I was a bit frustrated because I was like searching the web and like because I usually have quite good. I have quite good knowledge of why Bitcoin is going up, why Bitcoin is going down, and things like that. But this time I was sitting at my mom's house and I was thinking, why? I mean, can somebody say why Bitcoin right now is going up? Because I haven't seen anyone do it. And so I'm involved in like a lot of Facebook groups with Bitcoin as a category, and everyone is like, depending on how the chart looks, they're talking about the pump and dump. They're talking about the big boys and the whales and blah blah blah. But no one is actually telling why Bitcoin is going up, why Bitcoin is going down, what's happening. But lately, I mean, this past 3 days or 4 days maybe, I've seen like a big pump in the Bitcoin, and I can't really tell. I saw an ad about a train station in South Africa where someone had put a big banner about buy Bitcoin or something, and that was interesting, because if they put banners in a train station in South Africa, there must be something going on, because I don't think it's going down. I mean, I don't think I really don't think Bitcoin is dying, because I had that feeling like the previous 2 weeks. Maybe I was like, maybe the start of 2020 will be the death of Bitcoin. I had this thought in my mind. Maybe we will see the death of Bitcoin coming up 2020. But now, I mean, things are changing. So, but I wouldn't say I want to see Bitcoin die. I wouldn't say I want to see Bitcoin grow. I want someone to tell me that I'm wrong. That's basically what I'm looking at. But I'm really into Bitcoin, of course. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's really great. Great thought process. I think it's really fascinating for anyone who is a little bit, into investments or whatever motivation you may have to try and figure that out. What is Bitcoin? I think many people really struggle still to understand what's going on there. Why? I mean, even right now, or even the past 6 months or something, or like even since the big bubble basically in 2017 when it surged to 17,000 euros, 18,000 euros for almost. I mean, I think most people couldn't believe what's going on, right? Like, how can an asset be so high? And many see Bitcoin as digital gold, right? So if it's now continuing above twice the price of gold, that's fairly interesting. Yeah, it's definitely something.
It's very interesting. Yeah,
it's a new paradigm almost, right?
I mean, I see.
And by the way, train station in Africa. So I've seen Bitcoin advertised in Miami, big, massive, mega city in the US. Super vibrant basically there, and they have this rail. They have the rail thing. It's not a subway. It's like this, monorail thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like a buzz on the monorail, and they had a big advertising, and it was pretty nice actually, because it said time for plan B, and then small above it said like the printing press will never stop or something like that. And actually, the author or the sender is Crypto.com, this company. So they have really good taste for advertising, I must admit.
And a nice domain.
And a nice domain, Crypto.com. And I mean, even I haven't checked out the product myself. Like, I mean, some people, I think as a Bitcoiner, it's cool to have these crypto cards and payment services to kind of operate in both worlds, in the Bitcoin ecosystem and then in the real world, because there's still not enough places to accept Bitcoin. But of course, it's a hot topic also. People really miss like all this fintech stuff and regulated KYC required cards and stuff. But anyway, so it shows that, I think it's definitely something that what we see now is that marketing is happening. Like also Bitcoin Swiss in Switzerland, they have an entire train with Bitcoin advertising, and I think I heard of one more. Like, that's definitely happening. I see a lot in here in Colombia also. I saw some advertising about Bitcoin.
Where?
I mean, I've seen a Bitcoin ATM in the shopping mall. There's a company here locally. They operate these ATMs and do tradings and stuff. But
that's nice.
Or somewhere on my travels, I've seen it somewhere. I don't know. I don't remember. Ah, yeah, I saw. They have there was a laundry. There was a laundry service, a startup laundry service, basically, and they accepted Bitcoin with this service, basically. Yeah. So
That's great.
and
That's
that's
great.
we can assure. I mean, even if Bitcoin would die now, there are big companies or companies that can afford advertising on trains in Switzerland, advertising on the train station in
Of
Africa, and
course, of course.
advertising
Yes,
on
yes.
this Miami monorail train, which is probably not that inexpensive. So yeah,
Yeah,
and that educates. I mean, that educates people that I mean, go to market strategy, right? So basic business go to market strategy. First,
yeah.
you need awareness to catch the people's interest, and then you need to educate, and then it needs 25 brand touch points, right? So until
Yeah.
the person finally considers a purchase, and so that's on the global level, that's happening slowly but surely. So people
They're
see.
working on it for sure. I mean, I see a stress going on as well. I mean, I see both sides, and I guess that's why because I'm on my laptop like every day for 8 hours a day. So I see a lot of stress, and I see the best of both worlds actually, and that's why I'm a bit in the middle. First of all, I'm pro Bitcoin. I'm like, I really want to see it grow, and I really want to see it as the primary currency for everyone. But I also see right now I see a stress, and I guess that's because I'm a bit stressed as well, because I really don't. I mean, I'm convinced about Bitcoin's worth and this and that, but I also see a stress with people and a lot of scams, of course. I'm not talking about BitConnect. I'm talking about the small companies trying to benefit of Bitcoin, but really hasn't integrated it in the right way as a normal payment provider. I see a lot of like private persons trying to take payments in Bitcoins for, normal services. And now I'm talking about like, maybe, for example, take payment for a service they promote, and they take payment in Bitcoin, and maybe they don't really actually promote, and maybe they actually don't deliver the service as a normal person would, because they risk a lot with a normal payment provider. But with Bitcoin, you can always take it to your private wallet. You can always take the Bitcoin to another person's private wallet, and it will still look like a company a company transaction. So I see a lot more of these. I wouldn't say scams, but I would say not that secure transactions going on right now, and I see a lot of them. I see like I said, every day I'm at my laptop, of course, so I see a lot of these transactions going on in the social media I'm talking about now.
Yeah, no, I mean, so scams is one thing, right? I think that's kind of unfortunate, but it's not limited to Bitcoin. Phishing is like super massive, and like data breaches. So this is a general problem, I think, of the internet. And
I mean, it's not a bad thing.
Let's talk about.
It's not a bad thing.
Let's talk about. Let's talk about a bit more about the reason why Bitcoin is rising right now, and what it may be. So I think the first fundamental. So I think that's interesting, right? Because you mentioned that you would like to have an answer, and nobody really can give an answer. And some people see Bitcoin. I think there are really two kinds of people, right? One people, they know why Bitcoin has value, and it's because of the Austrian value theory and monetary theory, right? So that's one explanation.
I mean, that's
people don't know.
You know that, but people don't know that. I mean, what you just told me is like, I mean, people don't know that.
Of course. But then this can just the Austrian value theory still cannot explain you in detail why currently the price goes up. It just can give you some fundamental ideas on why people may value better money. What are the core reasons, and then you can use that and build your own opinion. And then on the other side, there are of course a couple, like, markets are I mean, I'm not a trader. I don't know markets so well. I also don't care so much, of course, because I belong to the Austrian team that has good reasons to know why Bitcoin may has value. and may go further up. But the interesting thing, for example, I think what drives Bitcoin adoption or price is, so right now, for example, also we see Lebanon is quite active right now. I've seen it in a German-speaking forum. They were discussing the banks there have massive problems. I don't know the exact details, but ATMs are limited already for months, I think. So you can only withdraw 500 euros or whatever. No, not euros, but like Lebanese.
Yeah, that's great for now, because otherwise there will be a lot of money laundering going on.
Yeah. Anyway, so Bitcoin there has a premium. So Bitcoin in Lebanon is much more expensive than in other places of the world because it's in high demand.
How much percentage?
I think 10%.
But that's not. I mean, go to local Bitcoins and see the percentage there. I mean, that's
no,
crazy.
10%. I mean, 10% higher than local Bitcoin. So of course, Bitcoin.
I'm talking about the average local Bitcoiner. I mean, the prices are sometimes scary, but it's still, I understand people, and that's what I'm talking about as well. It's like people pressure themselves to like go get the Bitcoin now before we're too late. That's what I'm talking about. The small businesses and small private entrepreneurs trying to get a hold of the Bitcoin now, so they don't lose. I mean, you understand what I mean? So they don't get too late to get the Bitcoin, and that's the stress I see.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Bitcoin is basically it's better money, right? Let's assume it's better money. Let's just hypothetically assume it's better money. Then if we go further down the line and we try to forecast how this better money will be successful. And successful means, of course, that everyone will use it, or at least a big portion of the world will use it. So if we imagine that the world switches to Bitcoin, or a lot of people adopt Bitcoin, then of course the price will go higher because there's only 21 million, and even right now there's so many millionaires. There are like so many millionaires in the world. Even for those, it's not enough Bitcoin supply. So those can't even have one Bitcoin, right? So if ever Bitcoin becomes really mass adopted, and if you own just one Bitcoin, you might be, in the top percent of wealth then, right? And that is just the theory, right? So we will see if that will work out. And I mean, there's a really great article on Nakamoto Institute.com. Not to please don't mix up with Nakamoto.com. So it says hyper-Bitcoinization, right? Hyper-Bitcoinization is that process when people figure out there is a better money to use for a store of value first, and eventually as a medium of exchange. Because right now, Bitcoin still is not as attractive to spend as it's attractive to hold, simply because we still bet on the future that more people will join, and Bitcoin still is, at a very, very early stage of adoption. So eventually, it will, it will attract more people and more businesses and more users, and then we can see where the price goes, and so that's what people I think expect, and that's why they use it as a store of value foremost, and that's also the main driver for this FOMO, for this fear of missing out of people. People see Bitcoin as the normal people see Bitcoin as a get rich quick scheme, right? So like everyone in the world needs to feed his family, needs to pay for tuition, needs to pay for the repair of the car, for the house, for the gas, for the electricity, for the insurance premium that goes up.
Get rich quick schemes. It's a lot of them.
And and of course everyone wants money fast. I mean, that's just a human nature. Like, we want the liquidity in our hands rather than in other people's hands, or rather somewhere locked. Exactly, it's an instinct, and it's natural. And of course, then we can go in deeper into it and say, okay, like, people also are especially driven towards this quick access, and like nobody has like in startups also, you see like startups want to scale ultra fast, want to get the money fast and stuff, and that's not possible because like good value creation takes a lot of time. So it's really counterproductive. And it creates a lot of these online businesses, online scams, you know, like some sort of business models that don't last very long but make you quick money. And yeah, they're so semi valuable, let's say, really. But that's a different, it's like a philosophic discussion about, you know,
No, but I get you. I get you, and
the
that's actually what I feel right now. It's like a stress for people who get aware of what Bitcoin is, or what Bitcoin can do, and how much Bitcoin can get in value increase. And that's why people are like, and let's take for example, if I didn't know what Bitcoin was now, I work with online marketing and etc. And then I like, Bitcoin, okay, so I should take payment in Bitcoin, and I go and stress people about it. I don't have a secure payment gateway for it, but I will still push it because everyone wants to pay in Bitcoin. So I just like Bitcoin here, Bitcoin there. The Bitcoin crash, not the Bitcoin price, but the Bitcoin gateway crash. People don't get their money, but I can still get away with it. And this is what people and also hackers. I mean, people who are who got knowledge within, you know, how to take advantage of these like security leaks, if I would say like that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? You know, with the people are abusing it right now. Yeah, people are abusing Bitcoin right now, and that makes like Bitcoin a bad reputation. That's what I feel. You know, that's really what I feel right now.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
And I'm talking about everyday people. I'm talking about everyday people, not people who actually, you know, are in front of the computer or their phone. I mean, people who work 9 to 5 in a store, you know, like everyday people, you know.
Yeah, it is what it is. You know, Bitcoin has a bad reputation since day one, basically, because
yeah, but it's getting worse.
I think. Yeah. It may get worse. It may get worse. The thing is, I think, you know, Bitcoin has a bad reputation because it is so free, and in a world where we have very kind of clear structures on how things are supposed to work, um, people are not used to handle these really disruptive things that are not possible to be categorized, you know, or labeled. Bitcoin is coming out of this deep longing for freedom of transaction, which includes, of course, even though maybe unfortunate, includes also some things that I disagree with. You know, some criminal activities, which is a big debate that we need to understand and see both sides of the coin, literally, because there are two trends. One trend is Bitcoin says, look, money is money. It's neutral, and it's not a it's not a technology to follow or to put criminals in jail. In order to put criminals in jail, you can have police and a legal system and law and order and those type of institutions which work perfectly fine, basically. If you want so, of course, you know, never perfect, but like, that's, the world is not perfect, right? The world is a chaotic place which evolves, you know, every second, every minute. It's just in the movement, so you can't expect to, you know, have a perfect answer to anything. It's not possible. And then, so that's the, you know, that's a side that says, look, Bitcoin is just money, and so money is not evil. It's the person who does bad. The same way you also don't come up with the idea to ban knives just because somebody stabs someone, you know, or ban cars just because one guy runs over a group of people. Yeah, of course, some people are bad, and it's important that we protect the good people. It's important that we protect society and stuff, and that we have law and order. But the question is how. And Bitcoiners say definitely not by setting up a global financial surveillance system, because that is the answer of the government currently, or of the regulators and Brussels. They say, oh yeah, Bitcoin is so bad because it's used for money laundering and criminal activity and illicit activity, and that's why we have to regulate it down and do the same actually with everything. So we ban cash, we make people's bank account transparent, and that is a trend which is really I think it's really underestimated how what kind of negative effects fact it can have two people's freedom and
Well, I
to
mean,
the economy ultimately also, because
yeah,
because what it does is it creates massive amount of data, which is a threat again, because it could be leaked and hacked. If it's the more it's centralized, and it becomes more centralized, if all this data gets in the hands of single banks, or even maybe I think some people even play around with the idea to have central bank accounts instead of bank accounts. So that would just mean that all financial transactions are in a central place. That means, like, if the one who controls the data has massive power because they control. I mean, already now with Visa cards or credit cards, there's a ton of personal information about your purchases,
yeah,
your
it's
purchase
shit,
behavior, and
yeah,
that's
credit
really,
cards are shit.
really critical. But
Yeah,
even worse is basically the we have a big problem, because initially we set up our democracies in a way that the government is transparent and the citizen has privacy. And the reason is that we learn from history it's not so good if the government has privacy and the people are transparent, because that's very close to any sort of totalitarian dictatorship. That's always the
yeah,
dream of central controllers, to make people transparent to control them, right? and
yeah,
and and, and we're headed that way, basically, because the more data um, is required to be public, or to be given to central. It doesn't necessarily need to be a government or a regulatory or a police or a central bank or a bank. It doesn't matter who, but centralized data always means there is power and control, and it can be used really, really badly, because you can then also use it for censorship, and censor bank accounts of people who don't follow certain political beliefs. But we believe, I mean, I believe in free speech. I believe in free opinions, and I think we need to have, we need to allow different views. Otherwise, it's not a free world anymore. Stuff. Okay, you try to regulate down the financial system to make it controllable and make people transparent. We do the opposite. We guarantee you censorship resistant money. And now the second point is, and I think that gets really interesting now, is, and on top of that, you can't stop us. You just can't stop it. Bitcoin can't be stopped. By nature, these transactions are confirmed by a network which is global and which anyone can join and which nobody controls. It's truly decentralized, right? And that makes it so powerful, because then, yeah, if you try to shut one server down, there are 50,000 others that will confirm the transactions and
yeah.
make
But
it.
can anyone join?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I mean, with you need internet, yeah, okay, but there are even solutions to do mesh networks and stuff like that. So I mean,
Yeah, but
internet
right
is.
now, right now I feel like it's a Western thing to say, like anyone can join, because right now I don't feel anyone can join. Even though if people have $2 on their account, I don't really feel like anyone can join the Bitcoin movement.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, really,
It's a
what
big
I'm trying
question
to
of.
say, sorry.
But I mean, first and foremost, people cannot join because they don't get the money out of their bank account in Lebanon. But that's not the problem of Bitcoin. It's a problem of the banks and the laws.
Yeah,
But I
but
mean,
how many people in Lebanon really, are like, okay, I have $100 extra to use. Can I join Bitcoin? I don't think people are like really. I don't think they feel secure investing in Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin is going up.
Mm-hmm.
It's still. I mean, that's a big question. I think that's a big question, and it's still like a big shield in the way for people, because maybe people know about Bitcoin, maybe people are wanting to invest in Bitcoin, but then again, why? People are still asking the question, why? I think, why, when I can save my money and pay, the ordinary things I usually pay, blah, 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 blah. Because people are not always thinking about, the price can go up. But then again, how are they going to sell the Bitcoin if it's going up? Let's say I have one Bitcoin right now and it's going up to 20K. How do I sell it?
It's interesting that you mentioned. It's interesting that you mentioned it, because I've seen on Twitter today a lot of some tweets about that. Basically, what is the value of Bitcoin again? What is the meta purpose?
Yeah, what is the value?
Yeah. So some people said I joined Bitcoin from ideological reasons. So and yeah, ideology, in its by definition is a set of ideas, a set of values shared by a community, and people, a main purpose of Bitcoin for many people is that it lowers the capital available to governments to create to finance wars, because Bitcoin is sound money. It's hard currency, and it's an alternative to central banking. And central banking, with this um, unlimited money supply in a sense, right? Because they can expand their debt basically all the time. There's no debt. I mean, the debt ceiling, right? So fiat money historically has been the big source of funds and capital for wars. So we've seen that in the Second World War, for example. Hitler has been only able to continue the war for so long, especially the last years were the most devastating, because they could go into debt further with the banking system and with that unpegged money. Yeah, so they went off the gold standard and printed money to finance it. And so many people see Bitcoin as a solution to bring more harmony in the world and to in general lower the funds available for war activities. And then, of course, a big, I think the number one reason for most people is also again from an ideological perspective, is that you disempower bad governance, bad politics, bad governments. You disempower bad banking practices and dishonest central banks, because although it works wonderfully for a period, so we had great times with the central banks for maybe a period, but then it's always historically the case that if a central authority has the power over the money supply, they may misuse this trust given to them by the people.
Misuse the trust.
They always misuse it. And what happens then is the ultra scam. It's the ultra scam because people use money on a daily basis as a store of value. They get paid in that money. And then the central authority that has power over the supply of that, especially when it's unpegged, when it's not gold anymore, or when it's the money on the accounts, when it's the digital fiat or the cash base, then they can just print money. And if they print money, they devalue the currency over time, which is bad for the working class, bad for the people, but good for those who get the money first. Good for those who are close to the banks, close to the central banks, and there's the governments and the big corporates. And it's a big, massive scam, basically, right? Because you just print money out of thin air without working for it, gain enormous advantage, get enormous value in your hands, and you can expand your business or follow your agenda. And that's unfair because other people don't have that access to cheap credit and easy money. Most people suffer and have to pay that bill because they just see, what I talked before. They see their insurance going up, inflation increases the prices. So they see the insurance going up, insurance premium going up, gas price going up, electricity going up. And especially engineers, especially old people, especially poor people, they suffer the most. And in the worst case, you see the final scenario, which is like, in Venezuela, or many instances in history, you have hyperinflation, and then it's game over. Then people also lose the entire trust in the system, and then they find new money. And I think that's what, from an ideological perspective, what the purpose of Bitcoin is. It brings an alternative for anyone to join, either within a territory, within a nation, within a culture, or also globally. You can just join Bitcoin and try out how it works for you to save your money in good money, in sound money, which in the case of Bitcoin is even harder than gold.
Okay, so one question.
Wow! Look, just super funny. Just there is a gecko which fell down right here on my PC. I was a bit shocked.
Of course.
So and that's look. This is the philosophic approach to Bitcoin. Now comes the market approach, and that was discussed heavily on Bitcoin on Twitter today, I think, which is we say number go up, which is a meme. A short phrase that makes it as simple as Exactly, which makes it as simple as possible that Bitcoin may be a good investment. No financial advice here. Do your own research, but maybe a good investment because the price increases if more people join. And that is the interesting part, that um, Bitcoin, because it's limited in supply, right? And whatever it is, it could be, so both from the Bitcoin side. So why do I have Bitcoin? Maybe because I can send it around, because I maybe because it goes up in value, maybe because it's orange, maybe because it's based on the internet, maybe I don't need to, there are many different reasons why people have Bitcoin. But then the more people join, the supply remains the same, and then of course Bitcoin goes up. And then the funny thing is that every 4 years approximately the supply of fresh Bitcoin every 10 minutes gets cut in half, and that creates a certain shock in the market, and then the price goes up. And all of that leads to, sometimes price goes up. When price goes up, people emotionally, and then people are emotionally attached, or look. So we had wonderful buying opportunities in the past 2 years. Bitcoin just went down, which is good to buy, basically, right? Buy when it's low, sell when it's high. And people don't do it because they think it goes further down. And then when it goes up, then it's important to watch out, I think, because it could go very fast. We've seen it with the last bubble, right? It repeats. It's a repeater. It's a looper, right? So the more people join in a short period amount, and now it's 8,000, so it could go really fast on 10 grand again. And we've been on 10 grand for a certain period, so it's not that far away. And once it's on 10 grand, looking in the industry, looking how many people are interested now, and that it's that they still figure out, okay, fuck, it's 2020 now, because it's still not that. Okay, maybe it goes further up. So I think so, and that was the kind of thing that the number go up, which is seen as not the original reason to be involved in Bitcoin. Like, Bitcoiners are convinced that it will create a better world. It is a meaningful endeavor. It is a meaningful money. It has benefits to create a better planet, basically. And that is why we also I don't really care about the price. But then the reality is that we live in a world where people only act for their own benefit, and for the majority of the people, that's making money to feed their family. And so the number one driver for Bitcoin adoption will be the price eventually, as that will give the biggest motivation for people to join if the number goes up. And whether they sell on top again or hodl for the next run, and what the final price may be, that's up to the experiment, let's say. And then of course I mean, the longer you're in, the more you understand, the more confident you will be about that experiment. the more reasons you have that you won't sell the next top, you will hodl more. I think, and that's a really interesting thing, that Bitcoin created this game. It's really like, I see it as a game that and you mentioned anyone can join. That's also another discussion we have. Will rich people kind of be the main driver of adoption, or poor people? Many say, for poor people in developing countries, of course, for them Bitcoin is kind of nonsense, because they have so massive problems. They can't even solve the most fundamental problems, like education, corruption, and those, and like, of course, they don't need Bitcoin payments.
But
whereas,
what's beautiful in, I mean, what's beautiful in all this crap with the scams and people wanting to integrate like Bitcoin payments for the services and stuff, is that it actually creates it creates like this hype as well. I mean, okay, let's say there's this iPhone.
Every time the iPhone crashes, Bitcoin will also crash.
No, but I mean, it's a good thing that there's bad things going on. And what I mean with that is actually good that we hear Bitcoin in all types of in all types of like events, like the good events, the bad events, the really scary events, the really super duper events, the Bitcoin price going up, people losing Bitcoins, people gaining Bitcoins, people investing in companies with Bitcoins. You know, all things we hear about Bitcoins is good. And I think like with everything you said right now, it's still for, I'm talking about all people now, not people who already know what a Bitcoin is. It's also for the people who want to know what a Bitcoin is and why Bitcoin is increasing in value, what kind of value it is. For those people, we always have to go to the source of the problem. So what I mean with that is, if there's a problem with, like, for example, banks, people can't buy, or maybe that people get, people don't know how to use Bitcoins, we always have to take it slow. Because right now we are very advanced with Bitcoins, especially when you and I talk, we are very like 4 steps ahead. But for people that want to actually integrate with the Bitcoin community, we have to always take it as songs. And I want to make a third-party story about this because I know a guy who farms like Google accounts, who farms Facebook accounts, and every time when you create an account, you always go into zones. And what I mean with zones is you can't just create like multiple accounts in any type of big company right now, 2020, because they have security things. So as soon as you go into like, so if you hadn't uploaded a profile picture of your new Facebook account, for example, you'll get into a zone. That means you actually can't like go forward with it, because they will ban you with the account if you have the same IP and blah, 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 blah. So you always have to be, we can't move 3 zones ahead. That's actually what I'm trying to say. You can't like go 4 or 5 or 6 zones ahead. Even in the Bitcoin community, we have to, you know, for people to actually realize why the Bitcoin is going up right now, why we're moving to the goal, why we are actually moving forward. We have to always take like 1 zone at a time. We always have to see why are people not believing in Bitcoin going up? Why are people afraid of buying Bitcoins? Why can't people buy Bitcoins? And we need people like you. We need people like in your community. Maybe we need people like me as well. I don't know. I'm all over the place, but we need people all the time, like taking like working against the negatives of why people can't move to the second zone. Do you understand what I mean?
I understand, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, that's also been a tweet today that I've seen, and that said, yeah, people attract. I don't know the exact wording, but it was kind of like people attract both like the best of people. So like, you know, Bitcoin experts are really intellectual people.
Yes, exactly, and that's what I'm trying to say.
With years of knowledge, but then also the worst, you know, also like really dumb people with they're only after scams and like scamming other people, like really unethical.
Yes, of course.
So you
but
kind
even
of
them, I mean, even them, why are they? I mean, why are they not?
They're after the money. They're after the money. Yeah. I think most, again, but even the intellectual, you know, even the top Bitcoin experts, even, I mean, everybody claims to be just for, you know, for the ideology, but at the end of the day, you know, of course it's great if Bitcoin goes up, you know, and you have some you have some satoshis. Yeah, there's nothing wrong about that, you know. It's
no, it's nothing wrong, but it's not the purpose. That's the thing, because even if Bitcoin goes down to $5,000,
the purpose is pretty irrelevant. It's great that there's purpose. It's great that, but you know, the purpose also, it's not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just a tool towards that, because Bitcoin is just good money based on how markets work and how money works. Bitcoin just does the job in a way that actually is it's a successful strategy to bootstrap better money, you know, because otherwise we could also use gold and, you know, just use gold and that's it. but that doesn't work because central banks have successfully made us use fiat instead of gold and
they
unpacked it.
monetized the gold long time ago, and that's the problem. And I'm a bit afraid that people monetize the Bitcoin as well, because when people monetize the Bitcoin, it's gonna be the same as with the gold, even though it's digital cash like Dash,
Yeah. So I think the second part that you mentioned, which is I think interesting, is that should people should the community take care of Bitcoin and stuff. So I think on that, Bitcoin is Bitcoin does I think actually Bitcoin does not require any. I mean, of course, it requires users. Yeah, that's it. But it doesn't require marketing. It doesn't require any agenda. It doesn't require press release. It's a system that works by itself. So you can just sit back and relax and buy.
For sure.
Because the market solves the problem for Bitcoin. Bitcoin. So the moment people figure out the value of Bitcoin, that's of course a question. I mean, if the propaganda, let's say, against Bitcoin is so thick and so good that just everybody will be blinded and then say, oh yeah, Bitcoin, it has no value, let's move away. And of course, then if it drops to zero, we had it in the interview with our conference, Adam Back. I asked Adam Back, so Adam Back, when will Bitcoin go to zero? And he said, if it goes to zero, I will just buy all the coins, So of course that's the worst case. That's kind of the worst case. Adam Back buys all the coins then it has collector's value, but it doesn't look like, it looks more like Bitcoin is on the best track towards global adoption in my eyes.
Of course.
But again, you don't really need. I think you don't really need anything, because again, the number go up factor, just that interplay between price and FOMO is already enough marketing, and that is basically just because Bitcoin is scarce and unstoppable.
And numbers don't lie.
and that's the pure technology. That's the there's no marketing team. There is no multi-level scheme. There's no referral, no affiliates.
No, but you know what the problem is as well. I get you, but there's a lot of people trying to create their own marketing teams, trying to create their own. They're trying to market Bitcoin as like they found it. It's like a virus.
Yeah. No, I mean, look. I mean, it's not Bitcoin's responsibility that there are scammers in the world.
Bitcoin's, but people. I mean, we are the people, right? So I can't speak for everybody, but that's the main issue. If we didn't have that issue, if everything were like you said, like what we want, it would be great. But now it's like it's a good thing moving up in value, but still we have all these health issues. It's like a lot of health issues with Bitcoin, and I feel that's like a really important thing to talk about. And it's growing every day. It's getting worse with the Bitcoin thing. Maybe if we don't care about the price going up and down, it's still like a big circus, and that's what I don't really.
It's funny because today was an intensive day. I was on Facebook and clicked on the notifications, and I see somebody has shared my title picture, and that's the picture. My title photo, from Facebook, and I had a promotion for our online conference, Bitcoin Future 2020, which is still accessible, by the way. Really great knowledge there for the topic Bitcoin experts to be watched.
Yeah.
So, and somebody shared that, and I was like, well, who shared that? And then look at it, and it was kind of like a super scam imposter account of a stablecoin called Stasis URS, which is headquartered in Malta, and like we've been doing some events together and stuff.
Yeah, but that's an automation. That's an automation reaching your account, basically.
No, but what it shows is that scams. First of all, it was really well made. Like they copied the video of that company. They copied the design of the company. It was really good. Like there wasn't really bad language, or like it didn't look cheap. It didn't look like badly made. It was really excellent made. At first I thought, oh wow, it's like, what is this going on? Do they have? I was really questioning whether it's actually original or fake, right? And of course it was fake, and they had and it was so bad, But so this is definitely a problem. I think let me take a little excursus here, because we could open or enter a thought experiment because my favorite meme is the meme Bitcoin will fix this. It's kind of like a extension of, you know, the market solves the problem, which like libertarian free market people propose. You know, market solves the problem. In Germany we call it der Markt regelt das, which is like, yeah, the market does the job, kind of. So and Bitcoin is creating a free monetary market, and once a free monetary market is established, sound money will outperform unsound money. So, and that's the idea of hyper Bitcoinization. It's just that switch from good money, or from bad money to good money, from superior money, from inferior money to superior money. So again, you know, with the FOMO loop of Bitcoin, people feel, oh, hey, Bitcoin is better money. I can use it as store of value. Price goes up. Oh, perfect. Yeah, better money. And then last step is that we can also use it for payments with second layer technology, whatever. And if that happens, we've seen it also, and that's, you know, that's the speculation. Of course, we've seen that in history, right? Like if people had hyperinflation, and of course before the hyperinflation, the gold, the actual original money, is undervalued. So you can buy it very cheap. So if you're smart and you know a bit of economics, buy the cheap gold, then hyperinflation. So all the value moves out of this house of cards, out of these fake asset world, and then prices basically dump. And at the same time, the gold price, which is the actual money, goes up. So you can buy, in Germany, there are stories of people in the hyperinflation, which happened in Germany also a couple of times. They could buy entire, you know, houses, villas with a few ounces of gold. And the same, you know, will happen to, if the flippening happens, and sort of the world economy may see the value of Bitcoin, then, you know, this could mean enormous value for Bitcoin. Hence,
I mean, it will happen.
Enormous purchase. Yeah. Enormous purchasing power for Bitcoin, you know, and I think that's really interesting. But then, so let's answer the question with the criminals and the scammers. So why will Bitcoin fix the scammers' issues? I would say, I think it could. I think it could. You know why? Number one is perspective and values. So if you are, so in Nigeria, you know, many scams come from Nigeria, and I was hanging out with yeah, some of them, not all of them. I was hanging out with a friend, and he told me about the situation that, you know, it's just really good money. You know, it's really good money. And I think the number one reason why somebody chooses criminal activities as a source of income is because maybe other sources of income are prohibited, are oppressed, and the number one job killer is the government. So with the regulations, with the labor regulations, with the minimum wage, they kick out a lot of people out of their jobs. Okay, and not just that. I mean, there are tons of limitations. You know, you need a license here, you need a license there. The market is getting centralized with all these regulations, and also there's a really fantastic paper on it's called Fiat Money and Collective Corruption by Thorsten Polleit and another guy. Really interesting paper. And that basically shows that if you have a central bank in place, which is highly corrupt, highly immoral, in the sense that, you know, they have the power to print money, and if you go, and they don't go to jail, whereas if you try to copy euro notes, you go to jail immediately, right? So, but what is that sense, right? So where's the justice there, right? And so just to finish quick, this paper discusses basically, like, if you have if the central player is corrupt, then it trickles down, and like more and more people can become corrupt and criminal. And so with Bitcoin, so that was discussed on Twitter. What's the meta purpose of Bitcoin? The meta purpose of Bitcoin is to change people's time preference. So once you have Bitcoin, you will have sound money. And sound money makes it attractive to save money rather than to consume, which makes people think for the long term and be into value creation rather than quick money. And criminal activities are quick money. You know, this is desperate activity. It needs a bit of creativity, to be honest. Like, these Nigerian scams are quite fascinating if you see it as art, kind of as human expression, if you will.
Yeah, but it's so much more sophisticated nowadays than with the Nigerian mail. You know, it's like
So this is the way how Bitcoin could ultimately, even though it's not responsible for individual people's actions and for the bad parts of the world, it could actually fix it. Point made.
Well, yes, I do agree. I do agree. It could fix it. I mean, it could get better with the Bitcoin, but I think it's like we need to eat. We need to shit. We need to love. We need to also get money. And I think with the get money, it's not about fiat, or it's not about dollars, euros, or Swedish crowns. It's more about get what other people take as payment. So it really doesn't matter if it's Bitcoin or if it's another currency. It's only about what's the easiest way to get the dough easiest. And right now it's very easy to get Bitcoins if you are smart and sophisticated and creative as a person, and you're good at internet and people's feelings, because it's a lot of feelings involved with Bitcoins as well. And as in any currency, it's not about Bitcoin. So I'm going back to the zones, like I talked to before. It's like we're in a zone right now where we know how to get Bitcoins, we know how to earn Bitcoins, we know how to do all these things with Bitcoins, but we also take advantage of the Bitcoin. So it's like, I guess this is another discussion, to be honest, but it's also like to get Bitcoin, get a real a value as of what you're talking about, as like it's like Bitcoin is the savior of minimizing scams and minimizing bad things. We also have to understand what's going on right now in this zone where we are at now, because I see a whole nother world. And I'm since I'm interested in what Bitcoin is doing to us right now, I'm actually I'm trying to understand why Bitcoin is going up, first and foremost. I'm trying to understand what people do with Bitcoins. I'm trying to understand if Bitcoin is real. I'm trying to understand if Bitcoin is fancy Ponzi. I'm trying to understand all of these things. And I still believe, you're saying such great things about Bitcoin, and I'm fully aware, and I'm with you, but I still think we are moving a bit too far with what we want with Bitcoin and where we're at with Bitcoin. Because to get where we want about what we are talking about right now, we have to, because things are getting worse. I'm going to be honest, things are getting worse day by day with the Bitcoin and with the services we provide with people until we take payment to Bitcoin. And until we can fix that, I think we are going to run into a wall with Bitcoin. I think we as people will go into a zone where we don't actually know what to do, because it's a mess. I think we are going to, we want so much with Bitcoin. Even if Bitcoin go up to $20,000 tomorrow, what the fuck are we gonna do, man? People haven't integrated with Bitcoin. People don't know how to buy Bitcoin. People don't know how to sell Bitcoin. People don't know how to use Bitcoin. People don't know what. It's so much things that people don't know with Bitcoin yet. I think we have to take 3 steps back. Just. Like I said before, I know what you do.
No, you can build a business that makes it easy. There's one business. It's called.
It's not about business.
There's one business. Look, there's one business. It's called Give Bitcoin, and what they do is they say, okay, if you want to give somebody, it's called GiveBitcoin.com.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and their purpose is to help people not lose Bitcoin if they get it for the first time. So many people want to give Bitcoin for a Christmas gift, for example, right?
Yeah.
And then they give them Bitcoin because these persons, then the people don't know how to handle it, they lose it.
Yeah.
And so what they do with Give Bitcoin is they lock the Bitcoin with a time lock or something like that, and then they have 1 year time to educate themselves how to handle it, and after 1 year they can access it. So they eventually avoid the mistake of selling it at the wrong time out of emotional action or not making a proper backup. So of course it takes a little bit of responsibility.
What's the domain?
Givebitcoin.com.
No,
But
it's
look,
for sale.
what?
Givebitcoin.com is for sale for $10,500. Givebitcoin.org is $5,600.
Maybe it's .io then, probably.
You see, this is a scam, probably.
Yeah, but look, so the thing is, yeah, you sure, yeah, it would be better if the government would have public education on Bitcoin. It would be better if there wouldn't be so much misinformation on Bloomberg about Bitcoin. It would be better if the big bankers wouldn't lie that they disencourage private investors to buy Bitcoin, but by themselves. It would be better if BitConnect didn't happen. It was just, I think, 2 days ago. It was exactly 2 years ago that they got shut down, and all these things. But again, it's a free world full of bad people, and this is not Bitcoin responsibility, regardless of anything that's going on around Bitcoin. Bitcoin controls you, and you don't control Bitcoin. So whatever people do, it all comes down to one point. The more people buy, the higher the price. Why do people buy? Maybe because they think it goes up, maybe because of a scam, maybe because of whatever. Hopefully for good reason.
Sorry, but let me ask one question.
But you cannot change that.
No, but let's say everybody bought 1 Satoshi tomorrow. Let's say everybody in the world bought 1 Satoshi tomorrow and the price went to the moon. Is that good? Okay, maybe not Satoshi, but let's say people bought 1 Bitcoin tomorrow. Is that a good thing?
I think it would be great, because then I could trade with anyone in Bitcoin, so everybody would use Bitcoin.
But how do people buy food with Bitcoin?
Yeah, I mean, you need it could, so you need to just everyone has a smartphone. Everyone has a smartphone. You can have your Bitcoin wallet on. There's also today, again, Twitter. Twitter saves your Bitcoin education. There's this company called Tangium, and they work on NFC cards that hold Bitcoin funds somehow, or like they have some sort of shitcoins, I think, but whatever. So you can even come up with sort of fiat. So if you prefer paper banknotes, do it based on Bitcoin. Bitcoin Swiss also has, I think, a patent even, or like a license to do certificates of Bitcoin, which could be used as paper money. So you can use paper money. But I think now, even here in Colombia, I was quite impressed. Big change to Cuba. Cuba, absolutely nothing, zero place where you can pay with a card. There's 0 point of sale payments device, zero, literally zero. Like maybe like one place in the airport, okay, nothing, nada, just their shitty cash. And here in Cuba, everywhere, even in the smallest bakery shop in a mountain town, they have a payments tool from the bank, which is Wi-Fi connected at the gas stations, and it's always handheld. So it's handheld, so it's no problem. Like, everywhere is internet, everywhere you can have point of sale, and you can have lightning integrated. Of course, you're right. I mean, that's always been kind of the concern of people. Yeah, I mean, again, misinformation is so bad, scams so bad, and mal-education is so bad. But yeah, what can you do? Bitcoin moves fast. I don't think it will happen overnight.
But I mean, are we ready? I mean, let's just take a scenario where everybody bought Bitcoin for all the money. Everyone. I'm talking about everyone in the world. What would actually happen? If everybody turned their fiat money into Bitcoin, what would actually happen? It would be chaos, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. I will ask. We should make a conference just about that question. We will ask it in the next in our next online conference. I think it will be just great. It will be just great. You will have.
I think so too. I'm gonna be honest. I think so too. I think so too. But it's a lot of. I mean, it would be actually. It's almost like everyone would be like, "What the fuck just happened?" People would be like, "Okay, what do we do now?" We all have Bitcoin, no source to dollars, no source to euros, no source to anything, only Bitcoins. So we have to integrate.
I remember when
Maybe it's a good thing.
I remember when I researched bank runs when I was younger, because I was interested in economics and stuff. And like with the bank run, FOMO, people always say like, I don't know, generalizations are bad and like, toxic masculinity and stuff. But like, honestly, like instincts, trust your instincts, trust your instincts. So FOMO, is good, don't be the last one. Because in a bank run, if you're the last one, you run empty. Like the bank can only give 10% of the people the cash because there is less cash available than digital money on the accounts, on the bank accounts. So only 10% of the digital accounts is backed with cash. Yeah. So, and if you're the last one, there's no cash for you anymore in the bank account. You need to be among the first 10%. So, and there was, and that's again maybe a good last one again. So I think we're good in time. Have a great discussion. There was one other Twitter. By the way, we want to crack 500 Twitter followers of the Bitcoin Club. Please help us. If you don't, I mentioned already. I verbally retweeted a lot of tweets in this little podcast here. So Bitcoin Club.
Wait, is this on YouTube?
BitcoinClub.mt.
You should put things in the.
Yeah, I can put it in the description. Yeah. But like at bitcoinclub.mt, if you listen now or watch now or something like that. Anyways, we have 2 more followers already, so we are now at 492. Pretty good. And you also like 493 now. So you need to follow. That's 494. And then it's just 6 people missing. Magic Evils number 666. You can create your Twitter handle in the meantime. And so the last tweet that I want to share with you for tonight, because it's also getting night now in Colombia. The last one is one guy said, again, I don't know it. I should prepare them next time I prepare them. And he said, the reason why, or like, I'm just getting into Bitcoin because I'm so happy I can buy really low before all the other people will figure out why Bitcoin has value. and that nails it.
I wake up every day and think like that.
Yeah, that nails it. I mean, it's it's so funny because it's so philosophic. Like Bitcoin has this meta purpose and it's so good to the world and it fixes it and like all these things that Bitcoin can do, may do, whatever. But at the end of the day, of course, money is king, cash is king, money rules the world. Money is power, money is freedom, and good money is better for the world. Yeah, and like if we have something like Bitcoin that actually so beautifully promise or opens new opportunities for anyone to trade. I mean, again, Bitcoin allows free trade, and free trade is the only way that humanity has found to create prosperity, to lift up people out of poverty, to create good things.
Can I ask you just like one question?
Yeah.
But are you buying any other cryptocurrencies right now? Do you believe in any other cryptocurrencies like the Pi network?
Honestly, I see it like a pocket. I have one token of all the little shit tokens for my Bitcoin shit, for my shitcoin album. That's actually a good idea. We should come up with a shitcoin collection. We make like
the shitcoin pod. We should make a podcast about it.
But you need to have a hardware. You need to have a hardware wallet. Then like no paper wallet. You make paper wallets of even if all these blockchain, they will be discontinued at a certain point. So you can't move them anymore. But like you have at least. Like,
I want to know about the Pi.
What?
Have you heard about the Pi network? The Pi...
yeah. That was a big scam. There's a big scam.
It's a scam. I'm still pushing the button every day. I do. It's funny. I have 500, bro.
They probably steal all your data from your computer or rip your Bitcoin private keys. I mean,
your data is already stolen, man. Google is already on you, man. What are you talking about? Are Pi gonna steal more data from you? Or what?
The good thing is that kind of data, I'm happy if they steal, if they learn a bit about Bitcoin. But you should read these articles that I mentioned. So you should read about hyper Bitcoinization on Nakamoto Institute, and then the second one you should read Everyone is a Scammer.
Yeah, I mean they give Bitcoin.com and they sell in the domain.
Yeah. No, so just to finish, last but not least, I want to share a tweet that BitcoinClub.mt, the Bitcoin Club Malta.
Go subscribe that.
So I was in this town here today, and there was a beautiful, beautiful door because they have this Latin American, it's so happy, like so colorful. I love it. They have these really nice facade colorings and ornaments and decorations, which are traditional. And there's one big door. I posted it on Twitter from a house here, and this town, it was built in 1850, and just that single door, it must have cost enormous amounts of work to craft it, because there's like some flower ornaments, with actual wood cut and stuff, and like proper carpeting work, really long hours of work probably have been going into that, and it just looks awesome. It's really good aesthetics. It's probably has golden ratio, really well done, high quality work, and also really, like, it was orange, orange green, so it was like Bitcoin door for me. So I liked it, and that's kind of what's going on. I think that with Bitcoin, if the whole world would switch to Bitcoin, the big change in the world that we will see is people will change their preference. So instead of consuming in order to avoid being stolen their money, their hard-earned wealth through inflation, they will be able to avoid that robbery, that global theft, and they will have certainty that because of economic growth, whatever percentage it has is up to the people's motivation in that economy, right? But you can participate in the world economy, sort of. And so let's say there's 5% growth, then that means that prices go down, and then your purchasing power goes up. And so that certainty gives you a fantastic savings perspective. And as Pierre Rochard says, Bitcoin is a savings technology. Bitcoin will be able to save again without problems, instantly, for free. Just hold money, keep some money, and that's the greatest ever instinct in order to accumulate wealth. Millionaires are low spenders, high savers, and reinvestors into something that provides value, that is long-term business.
Yes, I have one question.
So this is what I see, that people will be able to invest into long-term projects, valuable business, good ideas, creative ideas, great technologies, and just maybe also lower pace. Right now we have this AI and stuff, and I think it's all pumped up artificially with cheap money. We will have organic, sustainable, and meaningful adoption of technology.
But what do you think about this?
Tranquility.
What do you think about this? The millionaires today, I'm talking about the dollar millionaires, the euro millionaires, the Swedish crowns millionaires, the Norwegian, whatever. Are they investing in Bitcoin?
The smart ones,
I'm not talking about like financial. People that invest in stocks and shit. I'm talking about people that are rich. Are the rich people investing in Bitcoin right now, or is it only the poor people who wants to get to the moon effect? Where are the millionaires? Are they already investing, or where are we?
I don't know, but it's a good question.
What do you think? So, what's your thought about it?
Yeah, there's poor, and then there's like Western poor, I would say, and then there's like millionaires, which is a huge bunch of people, like rich people, huge group. And then there's like super rich, right? And
yeah, but if 1,000 poor are buying one Satoshi, is better than one.
Everyone should buy. Everyone should buy. You can't stop people buying. I think actually, yeah, I think everyone buys. Honestly, I think everyone buys. Everyone who knows buys.
Yeah, everyone know buys, but everyone I know, they always tell me like, but I'm too late.
No,
like I'm too late. Everybody I speak to, like,
from my experience, majority of people are not aware. But again, like, there's data. So I think I heard 3% of retirees in the US have Bitcoin. I know personally of quite a lot of people who do it, and who have money and who do it, and it's getting more and more established in Germany now. German banks, by law, there's a new law somehow some months ago, and German banks are allowed to hold funds or hold Bitcoin for customers, and that
Yeah,
also
that's
shows.
good.
I mean, the banks only do it if there's demand,
German.
right? So I mean, that's great. No, I think it's going massively, man. Still small, but it's inevitable. It's just
Let's
inevitable.
do
Bitcoin is
this.
inevitable.
Let's do this.
Yeah, has been a really great chat, Victor. Have you, in the meantime, been able to create your Twitter handle?
I salute you. I will create my Twitter now, actually, and I will. Go follow BTC Bronx at BTC Bronx. Go
Yeah, but
follow
what
it.
if? How sure can it be that it's free? Maybe your Twitter handle is not free, and then it's BTB Bronx too. Also, how do you actually spell it, Bronx? Because many people are not common
Bro,
with
no.
New
It's
York City slang.
exactly like in the US. It's BRONX because there was a Swedish guy called Jonas Bronx who actually went to USA and they fixed the state. So
Look, I'll check it. I'll check it for you. Okay, I think BTC Bronx and Bitcoin Bronx will both be already taken.
yes.
Bitcoin Bronx. So you need to make Bronx, maybe.
I'll fix.
No results for Bitcoin Bronx. No results for
What?
Bitcoin Bronx. It cannot be. Oh wait, no, it is. No, maybe it has
No.
been shut down. It could be that you still can register it. Let's see. BTC
I mean, that would.
Bronx.
I think that would be a standard for people
Also,
actually
so
work with Bitcoin.
BRONX.
Yes, BRONX. Maybe
Yeah,
it's a
grab it.
BTC.
FOMO. Grab it. We are live. But we have latency. We have latency. So before somebody who's watching, do we even have somebody watching?
I have no
I think
idea.
one guy is watching. One guy is
wow,
watching.
that's great. I mean, even one guy is one guy. Maybe invest in Bitcoin.
Yeah, they already stack sets like hell. Yeah, so it was really great. If we get one comment, then we will live stream again, maybe. So,
Of course,
so go on.
we'll get it. Thank you, man. Have a good time.
Great.
Take care.
Yeah, thanks.